Hello and welcome everybody to the Solano College Sports Network for a brand new edition of the Tuesday Swoop. I'm your host Cameron Garrison alongside my wonderful analysts, Garrison Glenn, Blake Molina. Well, although it is Valentine's Day, love is not in the air in the city of brotherly love as Philadelphia fell just short to the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl this past Sunday. What was a fantastic back-and-forth game ended on a controversial holding penalty that led to a game-winning chip shot for Harrison Butker as the Chiefs won 38-35. So first off, I want to hear you guys' thoughts on the game overall, and of course that penalty at the end of the game we'll get into.
Alrighty. I guess I'll go first with this. I enjoyed every bit of that game. That was one of the best Super Bowls I've seen in a long time. It was very competitive from start to finish. The Eagles came out like they wanted to win it, and so did the Chiefs. Every time the Eagles scored, so did the Chiefs. So with that being said, we guess you can go to the holding call. I think he held him. He held him twice. I understand, like, within the first 5 yards, you can do whatever you want, but then when the receiver goes into his break, you're supposed to, like, lay off of him or not, like, hold him or whatever. He held him twice. Held him with his arm and then held him in the back of the jersey. So to me, that was a hold. I thought it was a hold from when I first saw it. And then I saw it again on the replay and like, okay, well, maybe not, maybe so. But then when the game was over, he said that he held him. Right. So I was like, okay, then that's fine. But people wanted to hinge the Eagles not winning the Super Bowl on that specific play. When throughout the entire fourth quarter,
there was a lot of plays that lead up.
There was a lot of plays that lead up to exactly. You can't blame one play on that.
Right.
And if you want to blame anything, blame the Eagles defense for allowing 24 points being scored on them. Like, come on, man.
Right.
Jalen Hurts played well enough to obviously win that game. He threw for 304 yards and rushed in for 3 touchdowns, which is insane. Especially that being done for the first time by any quarterback. So, with that being said, I enjoyed this game very much. I wanted the Chiefs to win, and they obviously did.
Yeah, I think the call was the right call. I got to watch. I was working, but I got to watch the end of the third going into the fourth. I saw the play real time, and it was a fair call. And like you guys just said, a lot could have happened even if that call doesn't happen.
Right?
Do the Eagles score? Do the Chiefs defense get a stop?
Thank you.
Does Hurts or somebody does Hurts throw a pick or does somebody fumble? I mean, there's a lot of what ifs. Unfortunately, even if that call doesn't happen, so. It's one of those things, it is what it is. It's over now. Chiefs won. It was a shootout. And the only knock I'll give the Eagles is that top-tier defense did not hold up.
No.
It didn't. And, when you're playing Mahomes, I get that. But, I mean, you're going in there talking all that trash with a top-tier D. It did not pan out. So, that call can't really decide the game, unfortunately, because it was a shootout. It was close, but – I mean, unfortunately, the defense kind of failed them in a way. Yeah. And not just Bradbury holding, just in general. They weren't really getting to Mahomes either. He was scrambling away with that kind of bummed ankle. The ankle thing's kind of a mystery, I guess. We don't really know the full health of the ankle. But he's going to get an offseason arrested, so he's going to come back 100%, and it's going to be even more scary. I'd like to point out a couple players. The Chiefs, Kadarius Toney, first off, getting out of New York, the poverty, and going to what he's doing. That was phenomenal. Good for him. Well-deserved. Juju Smith kind of was on the cusp of, was he worth the big money? He got a 1-year deal. He played good. Isaiah Pacheco, the rookie, kind of taking over for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, whose now future is really in question. Is he going to get cut? Is he going to get traded? Because he's not going to be the starter no more.
Absolutely. There's not a lot of trade value in trying to trade him. Although he was a first-round pick.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't get much if you tried to trade him.
And not only that, he was Mahomes' choice. Mahomes told them, go draft this kid.
Right.
When they won his first one. He told him, hey, I want this guy. So now, that's a question mark. But, the Chiefs' offense really proved themselves. Travis Kelce, obviously we know he's the greatest tight end. I mean, there's no debate. And
ever?
He's making his mark. I'm talking about right now.
Okay. All right.
Well, we
can get into that for sure. But right now,
maybe for another day.
The ever part, no. We'd really have to do some research on that. Exactly. But right now, as of today, yes. And then I think Kittle's right behind him at 2. Okay. But
I don't think it's that close actually. For the best tight end in the game right now, I think as a Niners fan, no. Even as a Niners fan, like I don't think it's close.
Oh no, I don't think it's close. But Kittle's number 2.
Kills number 2.
Yeah,
100%.
but I agree.
There's
There's a long.
a
It's
couple
like
levels.
It's like with the quarterbacks with Mahomes at the top. I mean, there's
Burrow's
Burrow,
right there.
Herbert,
Yeah. Allen.
but there's a dip.
Right.
I think Mahomes is way up there compared to those guys. But
Yeah,
anyway,
me too.
different conversation for a different day. On the Eagles side, Jalen Hurts was phenomenal.
Absolutely.
4 total touchdowns, 3 rushing. No, both quarterbacks threw no interceptions, which is very
Or got
impressive.
sacked.
Or got sacked, yes. And that wide receiver duo of Smith and Brown combined for almost 200 yards, 13 catches. Smith had the only touchdown, but I mean they showed out. It
Absolutely.
was a good game overall.
Brown had a touchdown. AJ Brown had a touchdown.
It was the
The fade to the left.
fade to
it was
the left,
like a
yeah.
double team. They kind of broke. It was like a broken coverage at the end.
I'm
Brown
sorry,
called-
Smith didn't
yeah.
have the touchdown.
Yeah,
that's right.
You're right. Yeah.
But I mean, it's not like anybody played bad that was
No,
supposed to.
And the
was a
biggest
good player.
backbreaker. Not sorry to cut you off.
No,
was
you're
that the Jalen Hurts fumble that Nick Bolton took to the house.
Yeah.
That was huge. A defensive touchdown at that situation
Right.
gave him a little bit of boost of like life.
momentum swing.
Yeah, totally. And that's what it takes in those kind of games.
Especially in that game. This is a Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was saying it during the game, even when the Chiefs were down by 10, it's like, come on.
It's Mahomes.
It's Mahomes.
It's not over.
And I think he's already had, I don't know exactly the specific number of playoff comebacks in the fourth quarter or in the second half, but it's insane. No lead is safe with him.
Nope.
On the other
I
side.
agree.
Yeah. So speaking of Patrick Mahomes, first quarterback since Kurt Warner in 1999 to win Super Bowl MVP and regular season MVP in the same season, and he's got 2 of those now on his resume. 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, and 2 MVPs in the regular season, becoming the 7th player to do it in the same season. How does this add to Patrick Mahomes' legacy? I know we were talking about Mahomes, he's the best quarterback in the game, right? So does this change anything? Does it help him in a step towards GOAT status at some point in his future?
Do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
No, you can take it.
In a
You're a
5
Mahomes
year
fan?
I'm a Mahomes fan. In a
that's
5-year span, that's the best career I've ever seen. I think.
I agree.
In the first 5 years of your career, no one's done anything better than him. That to be able to throw for 5,000 yards twice in a single season is insane. And then to top it off with 2 MVPs, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, you can call it whatever you want. The man's doing it. So, and like, I've never seen that happen before in the way that he's done it. Yeah, you can say that he was a product of his receivers, but then when you have the best season he's ever had without that number 1 receiver,
Yeah.
then it becomes more so. It's like, okay, it's more about his talent and more about him just being who he is. I think that he is a top 5 quarterback of all time. I think that's just me. I think he's a top 5. One can argue that you can go back and forth with it, but it's hard to argue those type of numbers so early in his career. He's only 27 years old.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. He joined an elite company.
Man.
With those, that Super Bowl MVP and the regular season MVP. Peyton Manning, Terry Bradshaw, of course Tom Brady, GOAT, amongst others. I mean, I don't know if it's a little too early. He is a great quarterback.
Right.
I can't say.
On this pace, 100%.
Absolutely. That's what I
On
was
this
getting ready to
pace,
say.
it's hard to debate that it won't be him and Brady at the top.
And if not, for whatever reason, something happens, he's the closest person I think we'll ever see to either pass Brady or for sure get close or catch him, definitely. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Mahomes, he's up there already. And he's only 27. He's technically not even really in his prime just
what
yet.
I'm saying.
It's
Yeah.
scary what can really happen. And, they're going to improve in the offseason in some
Right.
way, whether they bring in a big name wide receiver or they just bring in more weapons. Juju might leave and get a contract somewhere. That's an open spot. Michael Valdez-Scantling, that contract's not looking good. Marquez, sorry. They could let him go. That's an open spot. Travis Kelce only has a certain amount of years. They could go get somebody in a couple years when he's done. I mean, they can just keep going up and up. And the running back room can obviously still improve. No disrespect to Pacheco. That's his room. But you can always go get someone else or, someone else might come through like he did,
You think McKinnon's going to leave?
I mean, I don't think he's in a long-term sort of plan.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think they would love to have him back because he's a good complement piece.
Yeah.
And he had some really big games in the passing game as well. He's a
Right.
good third down back. So I would be surprised if they bring him back, but it'll depend on the money because
Yeah.
There's going to be other guys that are going to be priorities.
Also, too, I mean, they could always kind of, say, okay, we'll let you go, and they can always go get someone else.
Yeah,
for
they'll
an
just draft.
improvement.
They'll maybe just go draft on the running back.
Yeah,
in
they
the
can
fifth
draft or
fourth
something.
round.
I mean, I'm not saying they're going to make a big splash in the running back market, but the running back market's pretty good this year for free agents. So you really never know. And guys like, I'm just using an example, I'm not saying it's going to happen. Josh Jacobs ain't going back to the Raiders.
Miles Sanders. So that's the
Miles
other thing is
Sanders.
the Eagles on the other side, I think, are going to hurt the most this offseason.
Yep.
They have a lot of unrestricted free agents, including a couple Hall of Famers. Jason Kelsey, his contract is up. I wouldn't be surprised if he signs another 1 year deal, or not another 1 year deal, but if he signs a 1 or 2 year deal, because unless he hangs it up, it's either that or he's probably going to retire.
he's done, yeah.
And going to be a Hall of Famer.
Fletcher Cox, too, right?
Fletcher Cox.
Yeah, that was the big name.
Fletcher Cox and Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah.
CJ, I think Gardner Johnson.
Gardner Johnson's going to go get
Bradbury, I believe.
Ugh, that defense is
Bradbury.
not going to be the same at all.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, Bradbury's a free agent, too?
Bradbury's a free agent.
Wow.
Oh, after what just happened, yeah. I don't think
You got a nice Valentine's Day card though today. Sorry, someone had to say it. That was so funny. That was funny.
This is messed up, man.
I do also, just real quick before we shift gears about the Eagles, their offensive coordinator is now the coach of the Colts. And their
Defensive coordinator is the coach
now
of the Cardinals.
So
Yeah,
that
Gannon,
you
yeah.
got to rebuild the staff.
Right.
You got to worry about your free agents. They're in for a stressful
Offseason.
The good thing is, I mean, the Niners have been through it when you lose those defensive, offensive coordinators. One, usually you're going to bring in other good guys because that's a position where they know if they perform well, they're going to go get a head coaching job.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's a great situation to be in as Sirianni and the
Ryans.
Eagles. Exactly, D'Amico Ryans,
Robert Saleh.
Robert Saleh, Mike
Saleh.
McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel, yeah, exactly.
All head coaches after a couple years in the system. So that's a good gig for them. But yeah, they're going to be losing a lot of players. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
But with Jalen Hurts at the helm, they're still going to be competitive.
Oh, yeah.
They still have a great offensive line.
They're not going to
Kelsey or
fall
not.
off a cliff or
Top-
anything like that.
Top 5 quarterback in the league. Can we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
That-
say.
after the
Okay.
Super Bowl,
Yeah, okay.
We'll start making lists in the offseason. Or I mean, it's already the offseason, but in the near future, I'm sure heading into next year. But I would say he's definitely scratched the
I don't
top
know where.
five.
think it's top
Yeah,
five.
I don't
I think
know
it's
where
top
he
five.
goes.
Maybe
but
5.
He's in there. Yeah,
4 or
I'd
5
say
for me.
4 or
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
There's a few quarterbacks
Allen
around.
nosedived a little bit for me. I'm not dropping him out of the top 5 at all, but we
Mm-hmm.
can kind of maybe re-scramble that list. Mahomes obviously number 1. After that, it's kind of open season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Burrow's
Burrow.
making a case for himself.
Yeah.
And it's funny enough, in the back room we were talking about how some people were trying to put Burrow over Mahomes before the AFC Championship game. And, I mean, Mahomes on a bum ankle,
That run alone.
Yeah, come on.
30-yard run.
30 yards.
Yeah.
And he was hobbling a little bit, too, and he was still in there. I mean,
That killed
Yeah,
me.
when he went to the sideline, he was on the bench, and he looked like he was in so much pain.
Oh, yeah, he was screaming in pain.
Yeah.
You see his face?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
And they weren't going to take him out of that game. They already took him out of that game before.
You're not taking him out of the Super Bowl,
not
man.
the Super Bowl.
Not the Super Bowl.
So, moving on, switching gears, the NFL Honors Show was the week of last weekend, the weekend before, I believe.
No, it was that Thursday.
It was Thursday,
It was
right,
Thursday.
it was during the week.
Thursday.
So
Yeah.
Thursday, NFL Honors. Personally, I thought they got most of the awards correct.
I
I
did
don't
too.
think there were anything crazy, but I wanted to ask you guys any takeaways, any snubs.
No snubs. For the coach of the year, and I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but I think I would have maybe given it to Doug Peterson over the Giants coach. But
Brian Daboll.
Brian, yeah, thank you. But I mean, he deserved to be in the conversation for sure. There's no doubt about it, and he won it.
What makes
Fair
you
enough.
What makes you think Doug Pearson deserved it?
He just, I mean, first off, the Jaguars have been a laughing stock in the league for
Absolutely.
Yeah.
so long, and they've had good players. MJD, that's kind of the list really.
Jalen
Just
Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey. I always forget about Jalen Ramsey.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm a big Trevor Lawrence guy. I think he
Yeah.
can be something really good, but they had the number 1 overall pick.
Back to back,
yeah, back to back.
Lawrence
So,
and Trayvon Walker.
yeah, so that kind of, for me, that kind of was kind of like, I think he should have got it. But, the Giants were a catastrophic mess. I mean, most New York sports are these days besides the Yankees. But, he deserved it. I'm not mad at it or anything. But if I had my choice, I would have given it to Doug Peterson.
With the coach of the year, I think you can also put in Kyle Shanahan in there as well. And I say that because I don't know if there's any other team that would have gone as far and done as much with a third string quarterback. You lose two of your quarterbacks for the rest of the season. And yeah, obviously the team is very, very, very good. And obviously not as good as the Jags or the Giants, but I think Shanahan should like have some type of credit in there as well.
I just think he didn't get recognition. I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think he didn't get recognition because of the CMC trade. That is I mean,
that was the best. That was the best trade.
That is one of the biggest trades.
That's one of the biggest trades in NFL history.
I was gonna say
in the middle of the season trade deadline. Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna say recently, but yeah, I agree. That's one of the biggest.
In terms of
trades ever.
Impact, I mean, 12 straight after that.
Yes,
that doesn't normally happen with a rookie quarterback. Last pick of the draft rookie quarterback.
And see, that's the thing with why I don't think Shanahan should have really been in that conversation is because Mr. Irrelevant was in there.
Yeah.
He looked good. I don't think he's a bad quarterback at all. And if he's the starter, I'm not mad at that if I'm a Niners fan. We'll get into that. But I think the CMC trade kind of, you got to balance the scales, as they say. That balanced it out for me. Because if they didn't get CMC and he did that, I think Shanahan should have won.
I think it's a really tough job. It's tough to compare him with the Giants and Jaguars type of seasons because, yes, Shanahan deserves that award at some point, right?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
The fact that he hasn't won it already is pretty absurd because he's always considered one of the best coaches in the game, if not the best offensive mind. Him and Andy Reid are probably right up there.
Yeah.
And they've had the most success.
They're 1 and 2 for me.
Yeah. They've had the most success. But the storybook season is the Giants or the Jaguars.
Yeah, I agree. I like the Giants. I like Dable.
Yeah, the fact that no one had the Giants in. The Jaguars maybe, because Trevor Lawrence, second year, obviously they were abysmal, and it was the Duval. It was really bad with Urban Meyer.
That was terrible.
Got him out of there quick.
God.
That was a clown show.
I'm glad they actually got rid of him and did a smart thing.
100%. Yeah.
Good job, Jaggies.
So speaking of head coaches, I want to get your guys' thoughts on the Chargers. We all had them as the second best team or the best team in our preseason rankings in the AFC. Obviously super disappointing. A lot of head-scratching moments from Brandon Staley in his tenure with the Chargers. Still no move yet at the head coaching position. Do you think the Chargers need to move on from Brandon Staley?
Go ahead. Take off. Go ahead.
Okay, I think they do. And I think they should have got rid of him last season when he made that abysmal call in the playoffs. You're either going to keep Staley too long, and it's going to ruin the team, but also Herbert's going to want to ask to get out of there. Yeah. And you know what? Herbert is in a great location. He's got weapons. The offense is good, but you have to get Staley out of there, not just for your franchise's sake, but mostly for Herbert's sake. Because I think that can kind of, and I don't want to, I'm switching gears going to a different sport, and I don't want this to happen either. That can turn into a Luka Doncic situation in Dallas before the Kyrie trade. And that might even still have rippling effects where Luka could kind of get stranded out there, and you don't want that to happen with Justin Herbert. You need to get Staley out of there. You want to give him one more season? Okay, that's kind of on you. That's really kind of risking it, in my personal opinion. Yeah. But, I mean, he probably needs to go. I would think if they start off slow, he's the first one to go.
Well, I'll ask you this. If he does go, who do they go for?
Yeah, that's a good question. That was the thing is because, in my mind, I thought Sean Payton was the best candidate for the job.
Yeah.
Now, Sean Payton was the best candidate for any head coaching job.
No, that job in particular, though, that is like a dream scenario. Totally. And there's nothing wrong with him going to Denver with Russ at all. I really like that move, but I think that's the dream scenario. Sean Payton went to the Chargers with Justin Herbert, with those weapons.
A young quarterback,
Yeah.
With him going to Denver, with Sean Payton going to Denver, I think it's going to light a fire under Russell Wilson. I don't think we're going to get the same Russell Wilson.
No.
I hope not.
I hope not, just for his sake.
It's hard to go any lower than what he did last year.
But he started showing signs when they got rid of the coach.
Yeah, when Hackett.
Oh my God, that guy should have been fired after like week 2. But
dude, literally, I think the first game of the season.
Oh, the Seahawks game was really bad.
They kicked it from like 70.
Yeah, the Seahawks game was really bad. But I mean, your first game, I mean, that's a little messed up even for me.
To put him on Thursday night.
Yeah, but I mean,
in Seattle.
He should have been gone way before that. And now he's with the Jets. What is that? That's a good fit, I guess.
Me personally, I don't think they should have had that game as the first game for Russell Wilson to come back to Seattle. That was too soon. The man just left. Like, I know. It gives it drives up the ratings, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of popularity with it. But for me, I'm just like, dang, man, you didn't give him any time. Like, just went right at it.
But
like,
also,
wow.
I agree with you. But also, too, I think that's, in a way, that's a big proving ground to see what Russell can do under
That's
a
true.
new team,
That's
new
true.
offense, new weapons. That's no better test than going into your old home where it's one of the toughest places to play and win. And then, going against a whole new, they had a whole new team. I mean, they had more than half their defense was all rookies.
Right.
And they were good rookies, too. They weren't just guys that were having to throw out there. They were well-established, they were pretty established guys for rookies.
And you got Geno Smith, comeback player of the year.
Yeah.
I really like Geno Smith.
it.
I can't
Oh,
stand Seattle, but I love Geno Smith.
He deserved it. Absolutely.
For being a career backup, I mean,
Yeah.
that's awesome to see.
I hope he gets a long-term contract, whether it's Seattle or somewhere else.
I want him to stay in Seattle.
Oh, I do too.
So on the topic of the Chargers and a little bit on some of the head coaching hires, personally, I thought the Shane Steichen,
Oh,
offensive coordinator
yeah,
for the Eagles.
To the Colts.
He went to the Colts. He was offensive coordinator for Justin Herbert his rookie year, and obviously Jalen Hurts last year. So it's interesting. The Colts are obviously in a position to draft a quarterback, whether that's Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Will Levis.
Yeah.
I think, first off, I thought it would have been awesome if he went to the Chargers and was the head coach for the team that he was just the offensive coordinator for after a year with the Eagles. That would have been really good for Justin Herbert. But with the Colts, I think it's going to be interesting if they draft a quarterback early, and this guy's already had success with young quarterbacks. I think that could be a really good situation for the Colts, who are in dire need of a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, and they need to go the drafting route. We talked about this on our pre-show. I said they need to get off the veteran carousel. They're in top. They're one of the rumored teams for Derek Carr. I don't think he'll even sniff Indiana. Like, they won't even probably talk to him or anything. Yeah. It sounds like he's probably going to go to the Saints, but we don't really know for sure.
No, he declined the trade.
Yeah.
He's going to be a free agent.
I'm saying he's cut. Where I'm saying he's going to go next, like go play. He's probably going to go sign with the Saints.
No, because he just denied a trade to the Saints.
So
he has a trade clause.
Yeah.
And so basically they or no trade clause. No, trade clause.
I think it was trade clause. Yeah,
it's a trade clause, and they offered a trade to the Saints, and he declined it after a visit. He visited there, declined. It was like, no, I don't really like it here, and then declined the trade to there. So they're going to cut him.
But I think they declined it. I think he declined it so he wouldn't. So the Raiders really wouldn't get anything back. I don't think it was the actual fit because, I still think there's some connection there. But I don't think it was because of the fit. I think it's because he didn't want to help the Raiders because the Raiders were doing him a little dirty.
No, I don't think he would do that. I mean, he was a franchise quarterback for like a decade, right?
2014, so 9 years.
Close, yeah.
9 years?
Oh,
9 years.
8 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
about
8 years. I don't know if he would do that. Maybe he's beyond that. But I don't think, just based off of who I think Derek Carr is, I don't know if he would do that to the Raiders.
Plotting and scheming, you never really know.
I think with the Colts, they should get Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud.
I think C.J. Stroud would be huge.
I like C.J. Stroud more than Bryce Young, too.
Agree.
I'm either or. I'm a Bryce Young guy, but I think if you end up with either or, I don't know about Will Leaves. I'm not
Levis. Yeah.
Levis. I'm not really too high on him. But if you end up with either CJ or Bryce Young, I think you're in good
good.
company. Yeah,
You're good. You just need to go get some weapons and need to go get an offensive line to protect him, and then I think you're good.
I know. Well, they had the highest paid offensive line last year, and God, they were abysmal.
Oh,
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was disappointing.
That's crazy.
But part of it is, from what I heard, Shaq Leonard, Darius Leonard, who was injured basically all season, talking about how when Jeff Saturday, the interim head coach, came in, he really instilled sort of a fire and held players accountable, which was not happening before with Frank Wright, who actually just signed with the Panthers, which is interesting. But
Very interesting.
because I thought the Panthers interim, who we actually got as our new D coordinator.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Steve Wilkes, right?
Steve Wilkes.
Steve Wilkes,
He was the interim for the Panthers. Anyway, I'm getting off topic.
He should have got that job. I mean, no, I'm. It's good for the Niners. Don't get me wrong, but I think
I thought he deserved that job because Carolina had a little burst.
Yeah, he deserved it. He got those guys playing, and then they traded CMC to the Niners, and then DJ Moore was kind of like, I think I'm ready to get out, and I think Wilk kind of talked him into staying a little bit, but now it's like,
especially after that helmet thing.
And with Darnold, right? Darnold stepped in mostly as a quarterback. Darnold looked good at the end of the season.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was talking about
the Colts.
The Colts and
hirings of coaches.
Right. With I don't even remember what I was getting into. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, So some other moves, obviously, D'Amico Ryans to the Texans. So the Niners lost their D coordinator again. And we lost a. I don't know the specifics. We've lost a bunch of coaches to the Texans. It was the. Do you remember the titles of some of these coaches?
No, I just remember that we just keep losing them.
I think it was. I want to say it was a defensive personnel or a. I don't remember. There were a couple of coaches that got signed with D'Amico Ryans now, a part of his staff.
Texans took Vikings quarterback coach. I don't really know what that means.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, because who's their quarterback going to be? Because what's their pick in the draft? The Texans? 2. So you think they're going to get a quarterback?
I think they should. I think they're going to get Young.
So they get Bryce Young, right?
Because the Bears are not going to take quarterback at 1.
So can we make the comparison of Deshaun Watson and Bryce Young? Because they remind me of each other when I see them.
They're very similar.
They're very similar. They know how to get out of the pocket. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they know how to get out of the pocket when they're supposed to.
I would say Deshaun was better. I think Deshaun was better.
I think Deshaun's better too.
Like some of the big moments he's had, like in big national championship game. I mean, he's
come up clutch.
Yeah,
he's come up real clutch.
Yeah, man, I was so mad that we drafted Solomon Thomas over Deshaun Watson, but let's not even get into it. Every team has one of those moments. Speaking of the Niners, Brock Purdy, torn UCL in the NFC Championship. There was a scare that he was going to need Tommy John surgery, which, as a ex-baseball player and baseball fan, that's one of the worst surgeries you can get, and also one of the longer processes of a surgery. Now they're hoping he should be recovered by training camp with what's called a hybrid surgery. I don't know all the specifics. I'm not a doctor. But it seems like his health should be all right by training camp. Now, that being said, it's kind of big. He's not going to have an off season as a rookie quarterback going into his second year. Usually you see a jump, although he already had such a great rookie year. Trey Lance, 3 NFL games under his belt. And really that first game, I wouldn't even count against the Bears. That was a monsoon. No one was throwing the ball by the second half. So the question is, what do the Niners do at the quarterback position?
If I'm the 49ers, I will start Trey. People are saying that they need to trade him. I think they're trading Jimmy Garoppolo because
Garoppolo's a free agent.
Yeah,
so they can't trade him.
Not trade him, but he's gone.
Yeah,
right.
100%.
So I think you start Trey because you gave up so much to get him. Give him some more.
Give him an opportunity.
Give him an opportunity. I understand. Also, they didn't have the team that they had when he was playing. This team was totally different.
100%.
Give him some weapons. Give him some time. I think Trey Lance will excel. Now with Purdy's situation, I think he's going to be an excellent backup just in case Trey gets hurt. But definitely keep those two because we've seen what they both can do. And, yeah, Trey doesn't have that much success under his belt in the NFL, but, I mean, give him,
he hasn't really gotten a shot.
He hasn't gotten a shot. He broke his leg. He broke his ankle or foot or whatever it was. Give him some time. What do you think?
I mean, I think Trey Lance should have the starting job. No offense to Brock Purdy. He's going to be healing, but even when he comes back healthy, let him sit back for a little bit. See what you got in Trey. I mean, Niners jumped up and gave up a lot of draft capital to get him, and unfortunately, if you decide, let's just say they do trade him, you're probably not going to get a fraction of what you gave up for him.
Absolutely not. No.
But on the other side of it for me is Shanahan's the mastermind. So maybe, after what happened with everything, maybe he decides, okay, well, we have these 2 guys. Maybe I want to bring in a veteran quarterback for a season and try something out. I don't know who. I don't know where. If they sign somebody. Obviously, it wouldn't be Jimmy G. He's gone. But maybe
I think there's only if that's the case. I think there's only two quarterbacks in that position. It would probably be Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers.
I don't like both of them.
No, I wouldn't either. I'm just, Shanahan's the mastermind at the end of the day. Right. But I think, I give Trey Lance his opportunity. Yeah. I mean, you have CMC now. He didn't have CMC,
That's
right?
what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, you have CMC. I think maybe, Debo and Ayuk are cool. Maybe one more receiver if you can. I'm not saying a big name. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. Maybe one more guy. And you still have Kittle. I mean, you have a security blanket if anything. So, I mean, just give him a chance.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a competition no matter what. Yeah. And if Lance doesn't show it and Purdy's healthy and he's looking like Brock Purdy that we know or that we saw in his rookie year, Lance is not in a good situation. And I feel really bad for him because it's the NFL, so you got to produce. It's a production-based league.
Yeah,
But at the same time, it's a business. He makes a lot more money than Brock Purdy does because Trey Lance was the third pick of the draft,
Yeah.
and Brock Purdy was the last. So Lance makes good money, although he hasn't played. And I think it's a very similar situation to what the Warriors are going through, or just went through actually, with James Wiseman, where
That's actually a good example.
a lot of draft capital, a guy who, because of COVID or because of injuries, didn't get a lot of run in college, not a lot of tape. It's just straight athleticism and stuff that you see. But not having that experience in college is huge, and we've seen it. I mean, Brock Purdy was a 4-year guy, got slept on, overlooked, but those 4 years of college experience was huge, jumping in, thrown into the fire on a Super Bowl roster with Super Bowl aspirations. I think it's big, and it's unfortunate. I hope Trey Lance is healthy and he looks really good,
Right.
and he wins that job because he deserves it. But at the same time, if he's not there and he can't win that job, the Niners are in a tough situation because we spent 3 first-round picks on him, and
It's a lot of capital.
you're not going to get that back.
No, I couldn't agree. Real quick, just some love because my boy Justin Jefferson won Offensive Player of the Year. Deserved it.
Yeah,
he was
I
in the
agree.
MVP conversation. I'm not gonna go crazy and think he should have won.
No.
I still put Mahomes and Hurts over him.
Thank
He's
you.
maybe a number 3,
Maybe.
but Offensive Player of the Year. He's only gonna get better. Joey Bosa getting Defensive Player of the Year. I thought
Nick
that was
Bosa, my
Nick
guy.
Bosa.
Nick,
Bosa.
get it right,
Nick,
dog.
I'm
Get it
sorry,
right.
Nick. I'm
Let's wrap it
sorry.
up.
But Parsons kind of. We were talking about this. I think Cam brought it up. Parsons not getting a vote. What was
Yeah,
it?
he didn't
What-
get a first place vote.
A first place
How many,
vote was a
how-
little surprising, but I still think at the end of the day, Bosa should have won it, and he did.
How many voters are there? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
That's crazy.
Not a first place vote.
Him not getting a first place
Yeah.
one is crazy. As good as he was throughout most of the year. I mean, in the beginning of the year he was great, and in the middle he kind of not faded, but he
Slumped.
wasn't as
He got
And then he
Mm-hmm.
turned it up towards the end, and I was like, okay, all right, Micah.
As much as I was just roasting the New York sports, Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner getting Rookie of the Year's offensive
That was
and
my
defensively,
favorite.
respectfully. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I really do. I can't, that's awesome. They definitely need to get a quarterback in there, probably a veteran, Aaron Rodgers, maybe.
Nah, bro, Mike White.
Okay, Mike White.
Mike White, Lightning.
You could say that
Nah,
was
just
straight
playing.
face, but
Nah,
I think that
there's
was
no way.
I think that was cool. I don't really, I think defensively, Sauce Gardner, that was an easy one.
Yeah.
Offensively, I don't really think anybody else. Chris Olave was cool, but not
I like Kenneth
It
Walker.
was Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth
Brock
Walker.
Purdy.
Kenneth Walker was
Kenneth
my
Walker.
He was my
but,
pick.
I mean, no, they both deserved it. That's cool for them. They got a nice thing going. Brees Hall's gonna come back. I love him as a running back. And
They need a quarterback. That's it.
The Jets are in a great position. Super young team, and
And that division has definitely softened up with Brady's
Oh, yeah.
departure,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Dolphins,
yeah. It's wide
with
open
Tua's
now.
injuries.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the Bills are still a powerhouse, but as we saw, they kind of started to slump a little bit. But, I mean, they're still going to be at the top. But, I mean, the Jets can easily be the second best team in that division with the right moves.
First best if they get the quarterback. I believe in the Jets. I think they could be better than the Bills. I don't know, but we'll see.
we'll see how it all pans out. Well, thank you guys. That'll do it for here on the Tuesday Swoop. Blake Molina, Garrison Glenn, I'm Cameron Harrison, and we'll catch you next time here on the Solano College Sports Network.